Hey, how's you going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampy's Workshop. Got an interesting video today. We're going to make a chainsaw. Check this out. Okay, how do you make a chainsaw, you ask? Well, it's pretty simple, really. Doesn't take a whole lot. Little bit of stuff you can find around the shop, scratch pieces and parts here and there, and next thing you know, you end up with enough parts you can build yourself a chainsaw. I mean, taking into account what I have to work with here, I mean, I'm just an old guy out in the woods. Don't have a lot of access to, good parts and things like that. So I'm just going to go around the shop and try to find a few things here and there that that I think I might be able to use to make this chainsaw. So one of the first things I found was, well, I'm going to need some chain. Another thing, well, I'm going to need a pull cord, right? You need a pull cord on a chainsaw. So right there's a pull cord, nice handle on it. Good pull cord, doesn't stretch. It's not very long, but I mean, it's not going to be big chainsaw, right? Like, don't get me wrong, this is not a big beast of a chainsaw. This is for, like, indoor use. All right. So that spark plugs. I've got a good spark plug here. It's an NGK, and it's a resistance one, and it's a high heat one because the engine, going to run hot, I expect, or it could run cold. Maybe that's why we need high heat, because it's cold. But anyway, have a spark plug. Also, if I have a spark plug, then you need to have a high tension wire. So I've got a high tension wire here too. So we're starting to get our parts together here, but we need to get the body, like the frame, the heart and soul of the chainsaw. We got, that's what we need next. So I happen to have this old hacksaw. So have a look now at how I try to get some of these parts and pieces put together to make this chainsaw. So I think that's got the makings of a fine chainsaw right there. We're going to start off by putting our chain on it. I'm going to try and pry this open. Okay. One thing I'm going to need to make this chainsaw is I'm going to need a hacksaw, because I have to cut this off. So I'm going to go cut this off, be right back. So I just cut that off with the chainsaw. Now we're going to thread this knot off the end there. And I might just dust that up on the grinder a little bit to ease off those sharp edges. Just putting a little Loctite on that. Now I think I can cut this link off here. And then I can put this one in here. I have to spread this apart like I did on the other one. So I spread that hook open, set that in there, then take my channel locks and squeeze it back together. So I need a washer for this end. There we go. Instead of putting the nut on there, I have a wing nut. Make it easier to tension. Alright, so that's our chain tensioning device on the end here, so that's good, eh? So there's basically our chainsaw. Now we have to put the motor on it. So the motor, I think, and the engine is probably going to be in here somewhere, so we'll put that in to connect that to the engine, and then the plug will go there, right? And then the pull cord, we have to connect the pull cord to the starter here. So that can kind of go in here, I think. So that'll kind of be it right there. Alright, so with a few common workshop tools, I can make myself a chainsaw. This is kind of a gag gift for some buddies of ours that we go camping with every winter, and we cut firewood when we go to their camp, and they're always going on about how great woodcutters they are, and they are really good woodcutters, and you know, they always fret that, gee, someday if I ever find myself without a chainsaw, you know, if I don't have a chainsaw in the truck or in the shed, I don't know what I'd do, I'd go crazy. So I just thought, I'm going to make them up a chainsaw, and when we go camping this winter, we can put this, if we can camp this winter because of COVID, but then we can put this in the barn, so, or in the camp for them, so they'll always have a chainsaw. Okay, did some more work on the chainsaw here, getting it ready. I glued the spark plug in, and I glued the wire in the engine compartment here. And I glued the pull cord on, so that's going to hold it on there nice. And because this is sort of like a gag gift, you know, that I'm going to give to the buddies at the camp where we do our logging, I wanted to come up with something to display this on rather than just give it to them like that. They hang it in the camp. Alright, there it is. What do you think? Okay, don't laugh. I always recycle whenever I can, right? This was a tabletop that I had made one time for in the lake room at the camp, and I made it with the point here so that it would go in the corner because it was like a heater in it, right? And this was on top of the heater, so we could slide this in the corner of the lake room, and the heater would face towards the center of the room. So anyway, I don't throw it out, I save it. And in fact, where I got the wood to make this tabletop for the heater that I put in the lake room was, this was an old tabletop that came off a kitchen table that I got from a fellow who was getting rid of his kitchen table because it had split. The wood had dried out and the tabletop split. So he was getting rid of the table. I grabbed that right quick. So what I'd like to do then is mount my new chainsaw on here somehow. I don't want to mount it right tight to it, so what I come up with was, I had some doweling, some 3/4 inch doweling, and I just drilled a hole. These two pieces were together, like so, and I just drilled a 1/2 inch hole down through the middle of it. Well, it wasn't a 1/2 inch, this is only 5/8. It must have been a 5/8 hole in there. And then they came apart, so what I'm thinking is I'm going to use these just as standoffs, here and here. And then I have another piece of dowel right here, just to sit under the handle, something like that. So that would allow it to stand off somewhat. So what I'm up to is I'd like to mount this now just, you know, about that height. So I've drilled a hole here, and I have some screws, machine screws. I'm going to put them down through that hole, and then through my mounting piece, and locate that. So I have to drill a hole in the plaque. So I drilled another hole in the hacksaw arm up here to get this lined up as straight as I can. Put my nail down through here. Doesn't look too bad there. Then give this a whack. So we'll try to set this up again. So we'll put that down through the hole I drilled in the hacksaw back. And in there. Now I also drilled another hole here in the handle because I want to put this last standoff under there, just to keep it kind of in a line. So the way I drilled the hole in these little dowels, because I wanted to get it as close to the center as I could, ideally in the center. Anyway, it just took a washer to set over the dowel, something like that. And then I have a center punch here. It's just a tapered base on it, and then the center punch comes out of the middle. So I just set that in the middle, give her a tap with the hammer, and that sort of zeroed it. Sort of zeroed it, because it's not 100% right, but anyways, it's there. So that's where that one is going to go. We'll try this nail again, down through here and down through there. Alright, so that goes down through there now. And then this one goes through here. Alright, that one's caught. Alright. So there we have it. One chainsaw. Now I need to come up with a plaque, something to put down there. So there's what I ended up with. We'll see how that works out. So, kind of a stupid little thing, but if you knew the guys that I'm giving it to, you'd appreciate why I made this chainsaw. Chainsaw, right? Anyways, I'll have to, I don't know if we're going to be able to go camping this winter or not with the COVID the way it is, because I think everything's going to be shut down for a long period of time. But I'll have to take a chute out to the camp and just drop it in there and tell the boys it's there, and they'll get a chuck when they show up, I hope. Anyways, it wasn't, it was a little fuss and bother, putting all that together, but it's good fun, and, it's just stuff I had kicking around the shop here that was of no use. The hacksaw was just about ready to be tossed, and that tabletop that I had, like I was saying, I made that for a heater that we had in the lake room, and I set that on the top of the heater, and then we could slide it right in the corner. We don't use that heater anymore. And that top was just was too nice to throw out, and I had nothing to cut it up for, so it worked out good for this project. Made a nice little shape plaque hanging. The chainsaw, don't forget that. Anyways, folks, appreciate you watching. Hey, if you're new to the channel, thanks a lot for dropping by, and welcome. I'm glad you're here. I hope you subscribe. And for my regular viewers, thanks again for all your support. Can't thank you enough for all that. So don't forget, thumbs up me. Comments are always welcome. COVID, boys oh boys, COVID, it's coming back worse than ever, so watch out for that. And we'll talk to you next time on Grampy's Workshop.